In this house in the town of Moscow, these 4 students of Idaho University, Xana Kernodle, Ethan Chapin, Kaylee Goncalves, and Madison Mogen, were all found dead after being murdered while they slept.
We want to start by extending our deepest condolences to all the families impacted by this tragedy. It's hard that we are without these 4 beautiful kids with us tonight.
I think everyone would feel safer if they found who did it.
So far, over 1,000 tips and 150 police interviews have uncovered 0 arrests, no clear motive, and no murder weapon. The town now lives in fear as those responsible for this horrific crime still remain at large and could strike again at any time.
It's hard to find any words for any of this.
So, let's get right to the case of the 4 college students who were stabbed to death and no one knows why. Moscow, Idaho is a small college town where over 11,000 students study and live. With very little crime, most of the town's residents live happily and safely. But this picture-perfect town was then changed forever on November 13th, 2022. Police received a distressing call to a house on King Road. It was near the sorority and fraternity houses and was occupied by several students of the Idaho University. When police arrived, they were faced with the shocking sight of the bodies of 4 of those students, who had all been stabbed to death during the night in a sickening quadruple homicide. Kaylee Goncalves and Madison Mogen, both 21, were found on the top floor of the house, while the college couple Ethan Chapin and Xana Kernodle, both 20, were found on the 2nd floor. 2 other students at the scene who were asleep were lucky enough to survive, and one of the survivors was the one to make the frantic call to the police. However, this case would not be straightforward, as conflicting information from the police and a flurry of rumors from townsfolk have caused this small college town to live in paranoia, with everyone desperately wanting answers.
People have to understand about what occurred on that night and the type of person that would do this.
The victims, who would become known as the Idaho 4, were last seen the night before the murders, where they were enjoying some partying, as many college kids do. Mogen and Goncalves were best friends who worked in a local restaurant as servers. They had been friends from a very young age.
6th grade, they just found each other, and every day they did homework together, they came to our house together, they shared everything. And in the end, they died together.
On the night of the murders, these best friends in a popular Moscow bar called Corner Club until 1:30 a.m. On their way home, they visited a food truck. While there, they showed no signs of distress or trouble. From the food truck, they received a ride home from someone the police called a private party. And at around the same time, the Chapin and Kernodle were partying at the popular fraternity house Sigma Chi. The 2 had fallen in love and were planning a life of happiness together after their graduation. They are believed to have left Sigma Chi at around 1:45 a.m. and returned to their home on King Row. Chapin was the only victim who did not live at the house, but stayed the night with his girlfriend. Between 3 a.m. and 4 a.m., as a yet unidentified intruder crept through the house and took the lives of these promising young students in a needless act of homicide. But was this just an attack of random violence, or was there something that the police had yet to discover? As the investigation began, detectives soon learned there was more to this case than meets the eye. Sexual assault was ruled out right away. Police did confirm a fixed blade knife was used in the attack, but the murder weapon was not at the scene. Some of the victims had defensive wounds, meaning they would have woken up during the attack, but it is not yet clear how the intruder gained entry to the house, or why the others didn't wake. I can't imagine the fear that must have gone through the victims' minds as they woke up to this terrifying ordeal. Even more confusing, Goncalves had a dog called Murphy that also lived in the house, but made no noise during the night. Is it possible that Murphy didn't raise the alarm as the unknown intruder was already known to the household and had been inside the property before? It is reported that each victim had wounds on different parts of their bodies and had been stabbed a different number of times. The coroner also stated that it was impossible to tell which order the victims were killed in. But one thing she did say is that because of the viciousness of the attack and the nature of the wounds, they have been led to believe that it's personal, meaning this was looking like an isolated, targeted crime, something detectives confirmed later on. So, who would target these innocent college students? Is it possible the killer was known to the household? That might explain why they were able to get in and out of the house without causing a disturbance, as well as a possible explanation as to why the dog did not raise the alarm. You'll be glad to hear that Murphy is safe and well and in the care of an ex of Goncalves, who now has been spotted walking the dog by local residents. As police looked at possible suspects, this case would become even more mysterious.
I talked to one student, and I agree with this. It was twice removed from the person that said it, Kaylee, but Kaylee 2 months ago complained about a stalker.
When Goncalves and Mogen were getting food on the way home from the party, they appeared to be under the watchful eye of one party goer. Here we can see an unknown male behind the girls. He seems to be staying close to the pair and even pulls his hood up, which could possibly be to hide from a nearby camera. As the girls order, he remains close, while not appearing to order anything for himself. While they take pictures for social media with their late night snacks, he sticks close by. Could this mysterious person be the stalker Goncalves had mentioned to friends? The chilling video shows him monitoring the pair as they head off home, and it looks like he begins to follow them. The problem is simple. Other than passing comments she made to friends and the food truck security footage, there is no actual evidence Goncalves had a stalker. Unless, of course, this is what the mysterious person intended all along. But recent new evidence may point to Goncalves being the primary target.
News Nation is learning that Kaylee Goncalves' injuries were significantly more brutal than her best friend Maddie's injuries, which may end up being a very, very important piece of evidence when it comes to determining who the target was in this attack.
What we do know about this case is that all the housemates and the private party that gave Mogen and Goncalves a ride home were all quickly ruled out as suspects. The ex-boyfriend had several missed calls from both girls during the night of the murders, which, as you can imagine, caused some concern, but he too has been ruled out as a suspect after being questioned by the police. It would not be long before the FBI became involved, where they would process hundreds of pieces of evidence in an attempt to get some concrete answers. Idaho State Police have also been on the scene to try and offer a sense of security to the Moscow residents and university students.
I heard about it, and then after a couple days, I received a phone call and was called out and sent up here to Moscow to help.
However, a sense of security is not what some students are feeling.
I thought it would make me feel safer, but it doesn't, because it just reminds me that there's still someone out there.
So far, detectives involved in the case have very, very little to go on, and the residents have been left anxious and afraid at the thought of a multi-victim killer stalking the streets, maybe even on the hunt for more victims. There has been a lot of criticism towards the police, who have contradicted themselves on several occasions. Early reports that the victims were targeted, taken back by the police, then claimed again later, leading to confusion and anger.
College community still in shock following the brutal stabbings of 4 of their students. So many asking, how did this happen?
Police still claim they believe this was a targeted attack, but cannot say whether the residents or the people inside were the intended target. Naturally, the town and the world might have their own conclusions as to what happened that tragic night.
And with the online community, they may be able to triangulate some details between photos that may go missed by the detectives on the case. So in one circumstance, it is highly effective to have that many more eyes that could point out something that's critical to the case.
Links were suggested with a series of murders in neighboring states. In Pullman, Washington, 2 women were stabbed in their apartment in the early hours of the morning back in 1999. While just a year before the Idaho 4 case, 2 people were stabbed again in the early hours of the morning, as well nearby in Boston. One of these victims survived the harrowing attack, and both crimes remain unsolved to this day. 2 residents in close proximity to the house where the Stories murders took place reported their dog being skinned and killed about a month before the murders. Despite the rumors that there could be a connection, police have also said it's unrelated, which sounds about right as the dog in Idaho was left unharmed. The 2 surviving housemates are not thought to be involved, but may hold crucial information that could help solve this case. One super creepy piece of evidence could reveal significant information.
Could this be the killer's handprint? The ghostly image appeared when this window was dusted for prints.
As of now, the prints remain unidentified. If this is the killer's hand, they may not have committed a crime or been caught by the police before. As you would expect, online sleuths have also come up with their own theories on what happened, but these may only be fueling the gossip that is spreading far and wide. Families of the victims have received little information on the case itself, leading to frustration and being upset at this most heartbreaking of times. At the time of making this video, the killer or killers still roam the streets. So let's hope the families of these poor innocent kids can find justice for the Idaho 4 and end this most horrifying of nightmares. Let me know your thoughts on this tragic case, and don't forget to like and subscribe.